flight. Man's fascination with it has been universal since the beginning of time. Wings, designed to lift skyward, to break the bonds of Earth and defy gravity for a few fleeting moments. With wings, man can soar, but put them on a race car, and the downforce allows high-speed cornering and split-second agility, and you can fly. Indoors, the Can-Am Midgets have been headline performers on Raceline. Working in restricted confines, speeds approach 60 miles an hour, even in constant traffic. But today, the Midgets will fly higher and faster on the newly refurbished 3rd Mile Peterborough Speedway. There's more room to maneuver, room to pass, and speeds will jump to the 90-mile-per-hour range with 13-second laps. This will be one of the fastest oval track shows you'll see on Raceline this year. From Peterborough Speedway, Peterborough, Ontario, it's the Can-Am Outdoor Midget Challenge on Raceline. Hi again, everybody. I'm Eric Thomas, along with Ron St. Clair and John Massingbird, welcoming you back to Peterborough Speedway for the Can-Am Midget Outdoor Challenge. Ron, we're used to the Can-Am Midgets indoors. It's one of the best shows we present every year on Raceline. The fans love it, but that's a different format. No wings on these very, very fast cars and speeds of around 55 to 60 miles an hour. But the idea here is to give them a little wing and give them a lot more room.
Well, they're going to be very fast here in Peterborough. It's a 1/3 mile, unlike inside Niagara Falls, where it's like a hockey rink. This is going to be very fast, probably about 100 miles an hour, and loud. Cars turning approximately 12.5 in RPM, maybe up to 13,000. So a very, very fast track.
Keith Dempster out of Alton, Ontario, has had the points lead in this fight almost all season long, but now the pressure's on from Norm Everschlag and a few others, but it's been pretty well Keith's show right from the beginning.
Well, he's well out front. He has 4 feature victories to his credit so far this year through their 16 events, and only 8 remain. Up to last night, they had an event at Sunset Speedway last night. He's so far in front, I don't think anyone's going to catch him. However, there are 3 drivers right in a tight battle for second place. And I guess the man to watch really is Andy McElrath in the number 40 car. Except last night when he broke, he's been the hottest man on the circuit, winning 3 of the past 4 races.
All right, and behind us, the cars are lined up. When we come back from Peterborough, we'll go green for heat number 1.
In reality, times have changed, and Levi's jeans have changed right along with them. Oh, there'll always be a place for regular fitting Levi's. It's called Mark's Work Warehouse. But now there's something new. New Levi's loose-fitting jeans, a more realistic way to fit in with the world. You don't have to go far to see how that works. Just to Mark's. For Levi's.
Done that. It's been there. Tried that. Done it. Did it. Done it. Doing it tomorrow. Whoa! Never did it.
You've never done nothing till you do diet do.
Did it. Done it. Liked it. Month.
When it's time for my car's scheduled maintenance, I take it to where I get upfront competitive prices, where they really know my car. And I get the best quality work done by GM technicians who use quality GM parts.
GM Goodwrench Service Plus, announcing a new level of commitment in the automotive business wherever you see this sign.
This sign means it'll be done right, at the right price.
Mr. Harris, your car is finished.
Great.
And here are your keys.
Thank you.
GM Goodwrench Service Plus means auto service with a plus.
When you buy a specially marked 3-pack of Kodak Gold film and send us the special coupon, we'll send you a Kodak videotape free. No shipping or handling charges. No harm intended either.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State's history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. Superior wear protection, plus superior heat and stress protection. New advanced formula Quaker State for today's high-tech engines.
Raceline is brought to you by new Kodak Gold Ultra 400 film for all your Kodak moments. Revell Monogram, the world's model makers. And Aerofoil wiper blades, the leading edge in wiper technology.
You could not ask for a more gorgeous day here at Peterborough Speedway. Glad you're along with us. 10 laps coming up. Heat number 1. Mark Cristiano out of Buffalo, New York will take the point here, Ron.
Mike Kalija inside of row number 1 from Delaware, Ontario, home of Delaware Speedway. You would think he would be a veteran to stock car racing.
Wayne Turnbull in row number 4. If he wins this, watch for him to do one of those patented little cartwheels. Andy McElrath, you see him there in car number 40. He leads the win totals with 7 this year. He has been hot outdoors. Love these cars with the wings. Used to watching them run indoors without them. But watch these speeds. Hear the engine RPM come up. Turn number 4, green flag. We're off and running with heat 1.
13,000 RPM. They'll be hitting about 90 miles an hour down the straightaway. Right out front, perhaps the oldest driver in the field here today at 61 years of age. It is Dick Watkins.
The amazing 61-year-old great-grandfather out of Grand Island, New York. One of the original co-founders of this tour, not slowing down at all. 61 years old, and he'll lead it early here in Heat 1 at Peterborough.
The interesting thing about these Can-Am midgets, Eric, is that it takes usually 3 to 4 laps to get the tires really heated up, and then you'll see things change in a real hurry.
Saw Wayne Turnbull's 31 there swinging around to the outside, trying to catch positions here, trying to move up on Steve Koza in car number 32. So Turnbull throwing it around. There's Andy McElrath on the 40 back here in the pack and trying to move up.
Oh, yeah, he'll move up. No doubt about that. He is perhaps the perennial driver in the field here today. There you can see the tires are coming to heat now for some of the serious contenders as they continue to move through the field. And we ride on board with Andy McElrath.
Wow. Doesn't take long to get by these guys, and the noise is absolutely superb.
It's unbelievable. They're not off the throttle very long.
Not at all. They pretty well keep their foot into it.
Well, I was really hoping to see some big things out of number 87, Al Forbes, perhaps one of the local favorites right here from Peterborough.
Absolutely. Good crowd on hand. McElrath now in the 40s, swinging around the outside of Steve Koza, who won a feature back here in 91. A little dust there. Just some tires getting off into the loose stuff in the infield.
Steve Koza, the 32 Can-Am midget, the leader right now. And of course, there is the 40 of Andy McElrath trying to make a move to get out front.
Pokes it down to the inside, has a peek. No, that's not going to do. He's going to stay to that outside line. Koza out of Toronto in the 32, but Andy McElrath out of Etobicoke wants to try and add to that win total. Now has a look down the inside. Look at the wobble on these cars, but man, they stick so well with those wings. Andy McElrath takes the point here.
Koza getting a little loose. McElrath taking advantage of that, moving to the inside to take the lead, but the front three still very tight right now. McElrath, Koza, and Wayne Turnbull.
Dick Watkins, our early leader, fading down to 4th place, but hanging up inside the top 5. So McElrath, Ron, who we expect to run very well here at Peterborough, out front, and now starting to stretch that lead a little bit over the 32 of Steve Koza.
And the 87 of Al Forbes, who we mentioned earlier, just went down 1 lap, and you saw him there momentarily without the wing up top.
There's the checkered flag, and Andy McElrath will take the win. You're getting lapped in 10 laps at this place. Gives you an idea of how quick these guys really are going.
They're flying. If you're a second off the pace, it doesn't take long.
There's the final results of Heat 1. McElrath, Koza, Turnbull, Dick Watkins, and Bob McDonald. So Andy McElrath has got things under control here. Starts the afternoon off exactly the way he wanted with a victory in Heat 1.
Tight confines.
Performance racing news. North America's Motorsport Authority. Get to the question early, and a little bit later on in the telecast, we'll get the answer off you. Who won the very first Can-Am Midget Championship? Was it John Casey, Dick Watkins, or Vince Cristiano Sr.? All of those guys there have been around a long, long time. Could be any one of the three.
Well, they have to have been around for a long, long time. It goes back to our centennial year, 1967.
Oh, you gave a hint now. I didn't know you were going to do that or not.
Well, you weren't going to. You're such a tough guy.
Well, that's right. I want to make him work for these things here. Push start on Norm Eberschlag out of Newmarket, Ontario. Some of these cars have onboard starters, some don't. That is the big debate going on right now with full-size midgets and sprint cars, whether or not they should go to the self-starter to speed up the shows or whether they should stay traditional and have to be push-started.
I think if they pulled the fans, the answer would be go to the self-starters.
I think so. It does speed up the show. Row 1, Dick Mahoney and Vince Cristiano. That's Mark's brother on the front row.
Dan May in that number 7 Can-Am midget could be tough coming off of row number 2.
Norm Eberschlag, you saw him get pushed off here. The 4-time Ontario go-kart champion Arnie Bray and rookie, at least in Can-Am midgets, Mike Wetherill on the final row. Wetherill, of course, is a big powerhouse driver in twin-track Formula One snowmobile racing, but he is brand new to the Can-Am Midget Club. Okay, formation coming up here. Should be ready to let him rip here for the heat number 2, 10 laps in duration next time around.
Be interesting to watch Dick Mahoney off the pole, a 10-year Can-Am veteran without the wing up top. It's been my observation here today, Eric, that these cars without the wings just do not have the same kind of stick on this track.
No, they don't. They really can use those wings to the downforce advantage. Nice formation here. These guys know how to line up. Take note, some of you other guys. Green flag comes out. And away we go with heat number 2 at Peterborough Speedway, the Outdoor Challenge.
Well, if you have to pick a favorite in this 10-lap heat race, Norm Everschlag in the top 5 all year long, has a couple of wins in the A features, so you would think a heat race victory should be fairly easy, but they have to get to the front early because only 10 laps, and the lapse is so quick.
Wingless car number 79, Dick Mahoney, continues to lead, but let's ride on board here with Norm Everschlag in car 36.
Trying to find a hole here to move up a notch. Currently running in 3rd. Right behind him, of course, trying to make a move is Charlie DeRosa in the 39 car, and he's coming on like gangbusters. Of course, he has a lot of experience, former New Holland track champion.
Exactly, one of the very, very tough Western New York campaigners. A majority of these drivers do hail now from Ontario, and duck underneath, Norm Everschlag going for it there. He's got lots of grip out here. Norm Everschlag's already won 2 this year, Ron. Going for another. Doing it the hard way on the outside here. Really challenging and putting the heat on Mahoney in the 79.
Yeah, Mahoney just had a hard time sticking coming off of turn 4 that last pass.
Yep.
Exactly. Still hanging in there. And look how tight this is, not only for the lead, but for 3rd place as well.
Norm Everschlag, we mentioned the 4-time Ontario go-kart champion, also rather good in snowmobiles. In the Speedway Tires and Mags machine, will take over the point here in car 36 across the stripe as we come down to the closing stanzas of heat number 2.
With a great shot down the back straightaway last time, Eric, you can really see the stagger set up, and there it is right there. How these cars are so set up to turn left. They're just a little off center with their weight. 1 lap to go for the race leader, Norm Everschlag.
Norm Everschlag running just about perfectly here at Peterborough. Down the backstretch she goes. Look at the lead that he's got on 2nd place runner Dick Mahoney and 3rd place car Charlie DeRosa. Here he comes to pick up the win with a yellow flag. Norm Everschlag got a bit of a spin here.
Problems right in front of him here in turn number 2.
Oh, yeah.
One of the carts up into the wall here, and we didn't get a look at that number. It appears the driver's all right, though. But there's your race winner, Norm Everschlag.
Dick Mahoney 2nd, DeRosa 3rd. Dan May, our indoor winner on Raceline last year, 4th. And Brian Corse out of Oakville will pick up the 5th spot.
And there you see Bob Crawford from Can-Am Midget number 10 out of Jackson's Point. He's all right. I guess that's Jackson's Point, Ontario, not Bruce Springsteen's Jackson's Point.
No. That's up on Lake Simcoe. He is currently the vice president of the Can-Am Midget Club, and they've got elections coming up here soon, so maybe he'll run for a 2nd term. But no one's going to unseat President Harry Macy. He's been there since the year they invented rope, just about.
Look, come on, you're just trying to string me along there.
Yeah, oh, no. See, you always wreck it. It's a good line and you come in. Well, he's all right, Bob Crawford.
Yeah, he's okay. He's heading back, and there you see the balance of the cars lining up for our next heat race coming up momentarily. 4 heats and a main.
Because accurate records were never really kept, it's pretty hard to pin down. But midget car racing has a history and a heritage that dates back to the Roaring 20s and the Depression 30s. At county fairs and big city expositions, these tiny, loud, powerful, and yes, dangerous racers ran a lot of old dirt horse tracks and even bull-like board tracks. It was at one of these wood track attractions that longtime Can-Am Midget president Harry Macy saw his first race, and he was hooked.
Yeah, it was in 1937, Eric. I was 10 years old. My father took me to the races. He said, we're going to go see midget auto racing. I never knew what a midget was, but from that day on, I was really hooked. It was a track where their daredevils really ran in those days. It was a 5th-mile board track that they ran bicycles on. They had no roll bars, and they ran 2-stroke motors, and just a hell of a bang show.
So, Harry, in the 50s, when you got out of the Navy, that's when you decided to go racing, right?
Yes, that's right, Eric. I got involved with a friend of mine through a used car lot that had a midget, so we went partners. Of course, I had never driven any cars, so I hired a driver, and we traveled the NASCAR circuit in those days. And one day, my driver didn't show up in Chemung, New York, so I was obligated to drive the car. And since that day, in 1953, is when I had my first ride. And then I got involved with the three-quarter midgets a few years later, and we formed the Can-Am organization. And I ran for a good 20 years with the club until I had bypass surgery, so that slowed me down. Now I have my son and Jim Muncie driving for me.
While driving in the 50s, Harry got his first taste of racing administration as the secretary-treasurer of the old International Racing Association. Besides midgets, Macy raced go-karts in the 50s, winning an indoor title at Utica, New York. Of course, indoor racing would become a big part of Harry's life with the Can-Am midgets. In the 60s, he put racing on the back burner and went into the trucking business. But he jumped back in when NASCAR, yes, NASCAR, asked him to be the chief steward for their midget division. Now, right about the same time, a farmer in Hamilton, Ontario, by the name of Al Banyard, was busy carving a pretty crude-looking dirt oval on his farmland in the Steel City. And under organizer Bob Crawford out of Pickering, some of the Ontario pilots just brought along their midget cars to run on this oval to churn up a little dust. On the U.S. side, Buffalo's Harry Macy and his quick field of TQs wanted to challenge the Canadians. This was the groundwork for the formation of the current Can-Am Midget Racing Club. So now into the 1990s, the Can-Am Midget Club boasts a membership well in excess of 400 members with over 60 licensed teams. And these guys run on tracks anywhere from Florida to New York State to Toronto and points in between. And of course, as we all well know, they run a very highly successful indoor program that's become an instant hit on Raceline.
Eric, I can't say enough for the drivers. They're so cooperative with me. We've got a group of 56 owners and drivers that I can ask them to go anywhere, anytime, and they'll cooperate with me 100%. And if it wasn't for those guys, the club wouldn't be where it is today.
Harry's wife, Gloria, has been a scorer with his club for years. Son Bill has driven, and now grandson Craig's into go-karts, so call the Macys the first family of midget racing. The cars may be small, but it's a big job running this show, and Harry Macy has it all under control. Harry Macy, one of racing's colorful people, brought to you by Kodak.
And Eric, I've had the opportunity of seeing Harry Macy work in the boardroom doing some corporate negotiating. And I'll tell you what, one day with the caliber of the show they have here and so on and so forth, they're going to put together a whale of a sponsorship deal.
1993 marking the 28th season of the Can-Am Midget Club. Okay, Heat 3, the volunteer fireman from Holland Landing, Ontario, north of Toronto. Paul Husby will lead him off. Dave McIntosh at Rexdale right beside him on row 1.
Jim Muncie on the inside of row number 2 in that number 9 Can-Am Midget. I guess he's perhaps one of the early favorites here, at least in this 10-lap heat race. Always quick, and look for him to get to the front.
He is the one driving for Can-Am Midget President Harry Macy. We take the green. Balich, Shirtliff, Frendel, Dave McKnight, John Spencer, Ernie DeVoe make up the balance of the field. Look at these guys going 3 abreast in the corner.
Well, there's lots of room out there. You know, in stock car racing, you always hear 1 or 2 grooves on a speedway. This track does have 2 grooves if they were stock car racing. With these Can-Am Midgets, there are 3 good grooves and a sneaky 4th one up at the top if you can get in there.
Number 9, Jim Muncie out of Pickering, Ontario, in the President's car. That makes Harry feel pretty good to see his number 9 running up front.
Putting some power to the pavement, making it happen early as he gets well out in front through some oil drive from that earlier incident in turn 2.
There's Muncie in the 9, the leader. Number 90, Dave McIntosh, is being pressured by Dave Balich out of Mississauga, car 12, and he takes over the spot for second.
And coming up to make a challenge as well is number 44, Jim Shirtliff out of Mount Albert, Ontario.
He is the brother of Dan Shirtliff, who you well know is one of the stars of the Budweiser Cast Car Super Series and shares same hometowns with the champion of that series, Kerry Mix.
That's right. Kerry just moved to Mount Albert within the year or so. Shirtliff moves up into a battle now for 30s on the outside, trying to make it stick out there, and he'll take the spot away across the stripe.
Jim Muncie out of Pickering continues to lead in car number 9. Balich in the 12, running in second place, but an older style TQ midget here, Ron, up front leading well. And the Balich car now is starting to slip just a little bit in that middle groove.
Still very quick, though. They just ran a 14 flat that time around, and of course we expected times in the high 13s throughout most of the afternoon.
Jim Shirtliff with a great move, slung it to the outside, tucked it down on the inside. He takes over second place in car 44. A great drive for Jim Shirtliff.
Nice looking car right there as well. The 06 powering around the speedway.
Dave McKnight out of Brampton, Ontario. He splits his time between the Can-Am Midgets, Ron, and the ISMA Super Modifieds. That's why that car looks so much like a Super Mod.
Shirtliff really getting the job done here as he continues to move up. Currently running in second place right now, but look at this. He challenged for the lead in that dicing off at turn number 2.
He just took that back marker and made a little bit of a sandwich out of him. Shirtliff trying to sling it around on the outside, and that car can do it there. Tries it on the inside, but Muncie's driving it perfectly. He's blocking him off here.
Yeah, they did a really nice job of holding the line that time and covering the spot.
Great action here in heat number 3. There's the checkered flag. And Pickering's Jim Muncie will pick up the win. Great action when the cars stick so well. As you say, they can cut in and out, high line, low line, wherever it takes.
Well, there's the Kodak top 5 finishers. Jim Shirtliff really just ran out of time. I think another lap or so, and he may have caught up. But Muncie, the winner, joining Andy McElrath and Norm Eberschlag through 3 heat races.
And there's more of the Can-Am Outdoor Midget Challenge from Peterborough Speedway on Raceline in a moment.
Fitting regular maintenance into my day is tough. So I go to where it'll be done right at the right price. I go to my GM dealer.
Announcing the GM Goodwrench Surface Plus Lube Oil and Filter offer. Done in 29 minutes, for the next one's free. With the work done by GM trained technicians who use quality GM parts.
I trust my GM dealer to give me the finest quality work at a very competitive price.
There you are, Miss RJ.
Thanks, that was fast.
GM Goodwrench Service Plus means auto service with a plus.
When you buy a specially marked 3-pack of Kodak Gold film and send us the special coupon, we'll send you a Kodak videotape free. No shipping or handling charges. No harm intended either.
Only one wiper blade has the aerodynamic shape that gives you perfect rain sweeping pressure even at performance speeds. Aerofoil, the leading edge in wiper technology.
Hey, Remington, shave this. Remington introduces the Triple Foil, the only shaver with 3 narrow microscreens for hard-to-shave places on hard-to-shave faces. The Remington Triple Foil.
If you can grow it, we can shave it.
Eric Thomas, Ron Sinclair, John Massenberg back at Peterborough Speedway. The Can-Am Midget Outdoor Challenge.
Normally, the Can-Am guys can do all of the tuning on their car, whether it be the engine or the driveline gear selection, right in the pit area. But Norm Eberschlag, the driver of the Speedway Tire and Mag car, can do it right on the racetrack as well by tuning the engine. Ideally, Norm wants to see this car run somewhere between 240, 250 degrees in temperature. This is a fuel-injected engine, and the one way that he can make more horsepower is by actually taking fuel away from the engine. Norm will reach down here to what's called the jet pack. There's a variety of jet nozzles in here that control the fuel flow back to the fuel tank. Now, Norm wants to tune up a little power. He wants to put a little heat in this engine. If it's only running about 180 degrees, he can turn this up, take a little fuel away, lean the motor out a little bit. So all he's got to do is turn this thing one way or the other, gives him jet selection, and when he wants to go a little faster, he'll lean it out, just turn it up, put another jet in there, and he'll take a little fuel away from the motor, hence making more horsepower. A lot of these guys call this thing dial-a-prayer.
Dial-a-prayer, dial-a-nozzle or something. Where do they find time to do all this adjusting during these quick laps?
I think they must have eyes in their belly button down there.
Could be. Bob Wood out of Brampton, our Kodak buddy in car number 17 there. Here's the lineup. John Stothard out of Scarborough and Dan Bound out of Stouffville. His son Jody drives car number 84, but that's your front row for this one.
Well, this should be one of the fastest heat races of the afternoon, Eric. We have Keith Dempster in this race, Todd Cresswell, 2 very, very fast drivers. Look for them to get to the front in a hurry.
Got a few cars in here, 1, 2, 3, at least in the picture right now, that don't have wings here, electing to go without that hardware on top. That makes it awfully tough to navigate the 1/3 mile here. Jared Turnbull in the 30 kicks that car out, but he gets lost down in the lower groove, and away we go with heat 4.
Great start in this one. 3 abreast down the front straightaway across the stripe, and Stothard from Scarborough, the early race leader, has problems off of turn number 4.
Oh, man, that happened so quick. Everybody got by on the outside. It looks like he made a little bit of contact there, but that brings out the first actual race yellow of the afternoon here at Peterborough.
I think I spoke too soon when I suggested we were going to have a fast one. This is the first caution.
Dan Bound in the 0. Let's have a look at this again and see what happened. Maybe the wingless car and that aspect of no downforce, he just plain overdrove it in the corner. Huh?
Rear end went right around. You saw the tires were still turning left, but the rear end just went all the way around.
Just wanted to see if everybody got by here cleanly. Okay, the car did kick up in the air, but nobody did actually touch him.
That shot reminded me of many shots we saw back in 1990, Eric, at Toronto's Exhibition Stadium.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that little egg-shaped track there? These cars crashed right up over the wall and into the fence a couple of times there. They were flying around that one, too.
They leave the park here. They're going to be into that Bass Lake up there on the backstretch if they do it there. But these cars are so light in the 100 horsepower, once they start bouncing, anything can happen. Little puff of smoke, not unusual. And away we go, and Dan Bound takes the green flag on the restart.
Running in second place, Turnbull from Paris in that number 30 car, and I think he's already lost that spot.
May do.
No, he's still in second.
All right, he hangs on to second place. Bound is your leader. Here comes the rest of the pack in behind. Heat number 4 at Peterborough, the Can-Am Outdoor Midget Challenge on Raceline.
Keith Dempster, car number 5 from Alton, Ontario, making a move. You can see him back and forth now. The second yellow car, actually he's dropped to 5th. On the outside trying to move up. He might pick off a couple of spots here at one swift move.
So we watched him up north, and now we got a spin here, and that looks like the 72 of John Strother. It'll bring out the yellow flag once again, but Keith Dempster, we've watched him. That car is just so incredibly powerful. It's not going to take him long to pick his way up here through the field.
Tough break here for John. That's the second time he has necessitated a caution flag in this 10-lapper.
Well, back a stagger, set up whatever, wing on top. The thing just is not adhering to this track at all. And this one we thought was going to be pretty quick. It's been slowed down here by a couple of yellows, Ron.
Well, this afternoon's program features 4 10-lap heat races as we prepare to get back to green flag racing. A 15-lap B feature, and then, of course, the big 30-lap A main.
So a big feature and a little feature, if you want to break it down that way. Some sanctioning bodies.
It's appropriate for Canadian racing. A main.
A main, A. All righty, RPMs come up, so does the noise. It's a great one in the restart. And look at Jared Turnbull throwing that midget around, trying to find some way to get by Bound in the 0.
I wonder maybe if there was a little contact there coming across the stripe to get things underway. They're awfully close, and there's Dempster back in, appears to be 4th or 5th position still. Now he's moving up and into 4th.
There he goes, just like we talked about. Gets by the 23 machine of Randy May out of Mount Hope. Dan May, his brother, won the indoor show on Raceline last year. But Jared Turnbull is the son of Wayne Turnbull, who's won a bunch here with the Can-Am Midget Club. Doing a good job up here in car number 30. He takes over the point. Bound drops back to second place. And there's the 5 of Keith Dempster. He's looking for his 6th win out here. He's pretty well got the outdoor championship nailed. And here's the pressure. Oh, if he gets on the inside, he is gone, and there he goes.
There he goes. And coming up through the field now as well is number 3, Todd Cresswell. And there he is, spun out in turn number 1.
Third yellow will come out. Maybe the track's getting a little slick here, Ron. We're seeing more of these guys getting up into that middle to outer groove, running into some of that marbling and debris up there, and they're not able to hold it down.
I'll tell you, this man right here is one of the up-and-comers in Can-Am Midget. His father, Bill, has a computer-like mind. This whole setup is drawn up on the inside of their trailer. Had the opportunity to get in there, and there's a flat tire there for the 74.
And Lorenz.
And had a chance to get in and talk to Bill Cresswell, and they really do have some wild ideas, but it seems to be paying off for them.
Big crowd on hand here at Peterborough Speedway. They're scattered down the grandstands, big grandstands here that him and the crew have put in.
And if you looked real close, you could see us up there in that small window in that new tower there.
You look real close, exactly. Get out your binoculars here.
Single file formation for the restart once again. 3 cautions in this 10-lap heat race.
You want to know that Jared Turnbull knows exactly where Keith Dempster is. Puff of smoke means the foot has gone down. The noise of the RPM comes up, and we got the restart.
Well, Keith Dempster went back to second place, I assume, because they take the scoring from the last completed lap prior to the caution flag.
Oh, look at this. He gets down on the inside like he wants to do there, and Dempster is gone. Just looking for that hole. Turnbull doing everything he can, turning himself inside out to hold off Dempster. Now he takes it on the outside. Before the flag, the inside. After the flag on the outside, the Dempster car hang over. Look at Turnbull here. That car doesn't handle that very well, but he's putting the challenge back on Dempster.
Fighting back, trying to get into it. Once again, Todd Cresswell coming back up through the pack after that caution flag. And look out, a wheel off this car, and into the wall goes the 0.
Dan Bound up into the wall hard when the 30 of Jared Turnbull lost a rear sneaker, and that's the first messy incident of the afternoon. Dempster will come around and take the checkered flag. They didn't yellow it before the finish happened, so Dempster takes the win, but all eyes in the place, including ours, on this calamity up against the wall.
Well, both drivers appear to be all right. Look, he's looking for the tire, I think, over the wall there. He's just trying to get out of the car safely. That tire, we talked about that big old lake out back. Guess where the tire is right now, Eric?
It's a bass lure right about now, I think. in the drink someplace back there.
Who's your Wally Whopper 5?
Yeah, what kind of line would you use on that thing?
I'm not sure, but fortunately the drivers are all right. We're going to have another look at this. Car just simply getting loose coming off of turn number 2 here.
Broke the hub or the axle or something happened in the inside of the wheel on the Turnbull 30. Here comes Bound. He climbs up the front of the number 30 car. Ooh, into the wall. I'll tell you what, with those exposed wheels, this is the open wheel part of the whole thing. Once you get up into contact with something, suspension parts start to fly, and it's pretty well done.
Here's another angle of that. That wheel just ripped right off, basically.
Yeah, all by itself.
And obviously a little fluid of some sort coming down on the speedway there as well, I would think.
There goes the wheel right into the lake, right in the middle of it. Maybe you'll see it land here.
It's a good thing Bound didn't shoot up over that Jersey barrier-type wall into the lake, because he was headed straight for it.
There you see pretty extensive front-end damage on the Diane Bound Zero car.
Well, here's the finishing order. Keith Dempster wins the race. Randy May finishing second. Cresswell came on for a third-place showing. Bob Wood fourth, and Jared Turnbull finishing fifth.
Floating perfectly in a lazy summer afternoon here at Peterborough. That is the tire off the number 30. Oh, yes, PRM. We need an answer to the trivia question. Who won the first championship? Casey, Watkins, or Vince, or Vinny Cristiano Sr.?
1967 was the year.
John Casey winning the first championship. Quick to the pits. Here's John.